Mr. Secretary, Title IX of the Education Amendments of 1972 prohibits discrimination on the basis of sex. However, your department is currently pushing a rule to force every school in America to add non-binary as a sex characteristic. How can the Department of Education enforce sex-based discrimination when the very definition of sex is so unclear?
Thank you, Congressman. We're not pushing for that. We are allowing states who have different categories to use those different categories of data collection that they're already collecting.
So you're not pushing for a rule to add non-binary?
We're allowing states to report whatever classifications they have in their states, yes.
Interesting. So, Mr. Secretary, do you believe that biological male athletes competing in women's sports are in conflict with Title IX protections for female athletes?
Sir, I understand where your line of questioning is going. I would love to talk to you about how the budget is going to help the students in your community. I'm proud of the Title IX regulations.
It's a simple question, Mr. Secretary, simple question.
Right.
Is it fair for biological boys to compete against girls in sports?
I believe all children should have an opportunity to engage in extracurricular activities, including athletics, including the arts, because that's what our schools provide, and every student should have access to it.
Mr. Secretary, never before have we had an administration like this one that's decimated Title IX like you guys are. Do you believe it's fair or not for biological boys to compete against girls in sports? It's a simple question.
I believe all students should have access to sport. And
so you do support biological boys competing against girls in sports?
I believe I answered the question.
No, you haven't. It's a simple question. Just answer the question. The administration either supports it or you don't.
You're saying, do I believe transgender girls should have access to sports? Yes, I do.
So you and this administration support biological boys competing against girls in sports. And you don't, and furthermore, you don't believe that that's in direct conflict with Title IX.
Sir, I see where your questions are going, and I'm going to be very clear with you. Our transgender students need to feel supported, included, and seen. And your line of questioning is even by describing it the way you're doing it, shows me that you don't believe that all students should have access to the extracurricular activities that schools provide.
Well, I guess where I'm going, Mr. Secretary, is you can defend, you believe that Title IX protects biological boys competing against girls in sports. Does this administration stand by that? We're about to celebrate the 50th anniversary next month of Title IX, which was brought about with bipartisan support 50 years ago. And somehow, somewhere, you and this administration believe that Title IX somehow protects biological boys from competing against girls in sports. You're okay with that?
I've had conversations with girls who are transgender who also look to sports to develop their own sense of accomplishment, to set goals, to work as a part of a team. I do support their ability to access what the public schools provide, both at the K-12 level and at the higher ed level.
All right. Mr. Secretary, do you agree that school districts do you believe that school districts should keep a child's involvement in gender transition a secret from their parents?
Sir, I would love to answer questions on the budget, which is why I'm here. And I think what I'm gathering...
Mr. Secretary, these are policies that your administration stands behind. You're asking me to fund your budget, and these are policies that you stand for. It's completely irrelevant to why you're here today. It's a simple question. Answer the question. Do you think the schools should keep it a secret from their parents if their children are involved in gender transition?
Parents and schools must work together to support students, and I do strongly support, and if you look through the work that we've supported and our policies and our practices, we want parents...
Should schools ever keep that a secret from parents?
Excuse me?
Should schools ever keep it a secret from parents if their children are involved in gender transition?
Schools should always
be a secret from parents.
Schools should be partnering with parents in communication, and there are times where schools are working and supporting students on issues that are very sensitive. But I do believe that parents should be connected with schools, and in many cases, working together is what's going to help the student. I have spoken to students who've shared whatever situation is at the home, that they felt safe at the school. And we have to be careful not to try to turn this into something that it's not. Our schools are safe places for our students, and our teachers are often the frontliners when it comes to supporting students when they have issues in their lives.
That's a very bizarre answer. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.